I do therefore like to invite Madam PS to proceed. Madam, as you introduce yourself, please tell us what is actually the importance of TVET as an institution in our education system. Kindly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bana Ombuna. The TVET, basically what we do is skills development, competent skills development that will inform the labor market in this country. So we train with the right attitude for industrializing this nation and also to take this nation to a manufacturing economy. So at our State Department level, we set the policies and the regulatory frameworks that will inform and guide this subsector to be able to come up with the right curriculum that is industry driven, to be able to come up with the right assessment tools for ensuring that we have the prerequisite qualifications, but also to be able to ensure that there is proper coordination and synergies all the way from the entry level up to the exit level as we release them to the industry. We are responsible for the various institutions that offer these TVETs. And these institutions come in form of national polytechnics, which we currently have 13 of them, but cumulatively, as a country, we were at 55,000 in 2013, the total TVET institutions, and now we are at 238. Now included in these 238 are the technical training institutes. We also have the vocational training institutions, as well as the vocational training colleges that we used to call them the village polytechnics, which are now under the county government. So what we do is to ensure there is quality and the prerequisite standards in all these TVET institutions, both the public as well as the private. We also accredit these institutions, and the accreditation process looks into various parameters, including the trainers themselves in terms of their qualifications and their competence, the institutions in terms of their capacity, but also as far as infrastructure and equipment, machines and tools are concerned. We also provide the regulatory framework that is able to ensure that there is adequate assessment of these to be able now to inform the industry readiness for the absorption into the various sectors. Basically for us in TVET, what we are training and producing are the artisans, the technicians, the technologists, as well as the craftsmen who are able to provide the various skills that can drive the industries and can also drive the various factories that we have in this nation.
Thank you very much, Madam PS. You've talked about that we have got 238 facilities across the country. Is it possible, Madam PS, but also to give us how many or the enrollment as it stands right now in these institutions, if you may be having that information?
The institutions are 238,000.
Yes.
We moved from 55,000 in 2013. We are now at 238,000.
Yes, yes, sorry.
And we have envisioned to have at least one TVET in each constituency. Right now, we have we are remaining 51 constituencies that do not have TVETs. And this we are purposing to progress this coming financial year, so that ultimately we have the 55,000. In terms of enrollment, as far as our entire TVET subsector stands, we are at 687,000 in the entire country. We have TVET institutions that have students population as high as 17,000, some at 14,000, 12,000, and the lowest stands at between 300 to 500 students.
Okay. Kenyans would wish to know really about how they can apply and to be admitted in a TVET institution. Perhaps, you know, if they want to know where they can be able to access the application forms, what must they do?
The ministry or the State Department for TVET have come up with the TVET Gateway, which is a one-stop digital platform that has showcased the different TVET institutions in the entire country, the programs they offer, and how to be able to apply and what is required of them. But again, at the Kenya University colleges and placement, what we call CUSPs, you also can be able to access the application for the various programs that we offer. And you can even do transfers in case, for example, wherever you are admitted for, you may not necessarily be comfortable with. So the major portal for application is the CUSPs portal, but we also are admitting at our institutional level, most of which have very interactive websites where you can apply online directly. But again, our TVET institutions also have career officers and staff who guide depending on the interests, the talents of those who would like to join, all the way from the youth, but also those even at the Juakali sector. And they can also be guided and to be able now to apply in terms of what is required for each particular cluster of the training program.
Very well. What you're saying, Madam PS, that application come in two ways. One, you can apply online, and the other one, you can actually walk into a TVET institution and apply physically from there.
Yes. Very
well. So Kenyans, you've heard, you can actually be able to apply for, you know, those who have got smartphones or have got access to internet. You can apply using technology. You can use your phone or even into a cyber and make an application. And if you do not have any access to any of these facilities, then you can just walk in any of the 238,000 TVET facilities, and you'll be assisted in terms of application. Madam PS, if somebody maybe has applied and is concerned about how they can be able to benefit in terms of support, maybe they don't have, you know, are they coming from a background that they cannot be able to afford to pay for tuition? Are there other provisions that are there to help those who are coming from privileged families, for instance?
Yes, we've not only made TVET accessible through our infrastructure development and equipping, but we have also made TVET affordable. For example, we provide Kenya shillings 30,000 per program per trainee per year. In addition, since the entire course program, from our calculations, costs about 56,800, and we are providing 30,000 in form of capitation, the remaining 26,800, we are able to provide it through the Higher Education Loans Board, where they could even be assisted by the various trainers within the institutions to be able to effectively apply and get this support. But in addition, we also work closely with the members of parliament through the Constituency Development Fund. This year, we also have partnered with the Equity through Wings to Fly. We are identifying the needy among those who also wish to join TVET that can also be supported through Wings to Fly. We have the KCB Foundation, which also bridges the gap, and other supporters that are coming in handy depending on the need of the trainee. What we are actually saying is that for us, TVET, we've made it so affordable, and there is no reason why a Kenyan youth should not access our institutions. The only thing we require is their willingness to be able to utilize their talents, and their talents sharpened through skills development, and then get to the right attitude and acquire these skills, and in the process contribute to their own livelihoods and also the livelihoods of those around them, but also contribute to nation building and to the GDP of this country.
That's really very encouraging, and also giving a lot of hope to Kenyans that you don't need to have come from a very well-off-to-do family. Anyone can be given, has an opportunity to go to school, because from what the PS is saying essentially is that if 30,000 shillings given as capitation, and then 26,800 can be given as help loan. So basically, you just need to present yourself, and all will be taken care of. And indeed, from here, you can also have 13,000 that is left for your own to use from the help loan that you're being given. So essentially, what is required, like Madam PS has said, is that the willingness for a Kenyan to go and access this facility, and the right attitude to be ready and willing to be
have expanded as far as the infrastructure is concerned. And like I said earlier, from 55,000 in 2013 to 238,000 as we stand now. And out of these 238,000 TVETs that are distributed in almost all the constituencies in this country, 190,000 are fully equipped with state-of-the-art equipment, some of which can get into production towards industrial products. The other achievement is in TVET, we believe that you come, get a skill, and we do not want to leave anyone behind. So another achievement is we now have expanded as far as our special needs TVETs are concerned, and we are now training our Kenyan youth that are challenged because they are either blind or deaf, or they are physically challenged in one or another. So we have these 4 TVET institutions that are now able to take care of the special needs among us, our youth. And we have also seen tremendous achievements among these special needs. Recently, during the Paralympics, the top positions as far as these Paralympics were concerned were actually taken by Kenyan youth who are deaf, the top 3. And they are now one of those that we are celebrating, that it's possible that you could come from whichever background that you needed to, and yet be able to integrate in the normal setup and become part of the rest of the Kenyans. The other achievements that we also have had is in terms of our enrollment. We have, from the 2013, our enrollment has increased by over 400%, from about 169,000 in 2013. Now we are at almost 650,000 plus in all our entire institutions. But like Bwana Cyrus, just to tell you, even as much as we could have had that 650,000 that we have so far trained since 2013, the discussion with the industry is they require 500,000 every year. That is what the Kenya Association of Manufacturers are concerned. And so this still is a drop in the ocean, but in terms of growth, in enrollment, we'll also consider it as a major achievement. The other, of course, has to do with the capacity building of our trainers. We've continuously ensured that our trainers are trained and equipped with both regionally and globally competitive training skills. We take them to different countries in the world. There are now some in Germany, others are in Canada as we speak, and we also take them to Spain. We also are been training them using the Chinese, with the Chinese as well. And in the process, they are also getting to also become globally competitive, to be able to provide globally competitive skills for our youth.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam PS, for that. Perhaps just before you invite the audience to participate, but maybe just cite examples, specific examples of maybe graduates who have been able to, to get into the job market and are doing well in the job market.
One interesting one, because I think that will be important for Kenyans to know. We have at our current technical training institute for the deaf, 3 of our graduates who were siblings, but they were all born deaf. And because the father had the firstborn deaf, the second-born deaf, the third-born deaf, he abandoned these. And when we reached out to them, we brought them up to our TVET institution, the current Technical Training Institute for the Deaf. We equipped them with the skills. They got out in the job market, and to reward their mother, they have actually bought land and they have built for their mother a house. So we are now seeing where an aspect of hopelessness being translated into hope. They are now employers because they got into entrepreneurship, and they are contributing to their own livelihoods, but also to the socioeconomic development in this country. We've also seen one of the TVET institution, one of our TVET graduates, and maybe it's in your place in Kisii town, who graduated with the automotive technology, and has set up this car auto garage, and has even employed graduates from university to be able to work in his garage. Many of them now are getting into the construction industry. A number have found themselves even the construction of the SGR, the construction of the various highways and the infrastructure that we have come up with. Others are also in the bakery industry, in the hair and the beauty industry. So our graduates out there, and from the tracer studies that we have done, they are actually not only getting trained to be employed, but majority of them are training to employ themselves and to employ others. So for us, that is a major achievement, especially as far as reducing the unemployment gap in this country is concerned.
Thank you very much, Madam PS. Indeed, what has come out here is that we are living by the mantra that nobody is left behind. It does not matter whether you are born with a disability. It does not matter whether you did not do so well in class 8. It does not matter whether you never went to school at all. Everybody has an opportunity, has a chance to be able to be somebody or something. And therefore, all it requires really is for you to identify the right course that you can be able to apply for, and you definitely be given an opportunity to develop yourself. Again, what has come also through that is very interesting is that it does not matter whether you are unable to pay the tuition fee or any amount of money. It is it is an institution that is fully sponsored, 30,000 capitation from the government, and the remainder certainly, it can be given through help loans. So really, it is an institution that offers opportunity for every Kenyan. So, young men and women who are out there who may think that their families are unable to provide, for tuition fee, do not have to worry. Just work in an institution, apply, and you'll definitely be considered. With that, I now wish to take it back to Mr. Mark to be able to incorporate the audience. Mark, please.
Thank you so much for that very incisive and inclusive conversation that has brought a lot of light into the question of TVETs and how they work and how many they are. In fact, I was just remarking here to my colleagues that I cannot believe just how many TVETs there are and how many students are benefiting from it. Now, the first question comes right from the floor. Benson from KBC would like to ask a question, and those of us who are joining us online, if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand and I'll be able to see your hand and allow you to ask your question. Meanwhile, Benson from KBC, if you could ask your question, I think you'll be given a microphone to do the same.
Yeah, I was asking, what are some of the popular courses that students are undertaking? There are those popular courses that people want because of their maybe economic value or something else. And we've had reports that some students who qualify to go to university are now in favor of joining TVETs instead of universities. How is that, and how has been the general intake? And we have a TVET funding gap because you say that people who don't have money can easily join. Do we have a gap? And if we do, how much is it? How much are we looking at? And have you established maybe a partnership with other countries, developed countries that have a skill gap that you can maybe help some of the graduates from TVET go do work there, like we saw with our nurses? Do we have those partnerships apart from maybe trainers going to Spain and elsewhere? Thank you.
Just take that one, Madam PS.
Okay. Yes, so some of the, now to answer your questions, and thank you so much for that because it also helps to highlight more. In terms of the most of the popular courses are electrical engineering has come out to be one of the very popular course. The other is textile technology in terms of garment making. We also have automotive engineering, as well as beauty and hair therapy. Those are becoming very popular. And the other one is tourism and hospitality, and specifically hospitality when it comes to cake making technology, food production, and food and beverage service. Those are also presenting to be some of very popular courses as far as our TVETs are concerned. Now, yes, it is true. Our major challenge has been funding. As you all are aware, we have a policy, a government policy of 100% transition from primary schools to secondary schools and to tertiary institutions, including the universities. But as far as the tertiary is concerned, and us being in the tertiary sector, over 80, between 70 and 80% of the total graduates from secondary schools are those that end up in TVET-related institutions. But out of these, about 70 end up in our TVETs, because of course the others are going for the medical-related, agriculture-related, though we also have agriculture also in our TVETs, but most of them now end up in our TVET institutions. And the numbers are growing, but the capitation is not growing in tandem with the numbers. So we have a funding gap. For example, in this financial year, we only managed to provide capitation for the first 3 quarters because the numbers had bulged vis-a-vis our projection as far as this financial year is concerned. So when we released to all those that have been enrolled, we ended up having a funding gap that is equal to a whole quarter, the 4th quarter. So going forward, because we get about 5.1 billion per year to go towards capitation for our TVETs, within this 100% transition, there is need to double it, because the infrastructure is there, as I said, the equipments are there, and we can be able to train as many as they come. And just to also, for information, is for us in TVET, we train even from those who get grade E to as far as those who get A's. And like you even have said, there are those who are even getting university admissions and they're ending up in TVET. And basically, reason being, in TVET, you can get to employ yourself. Once we train you, you get into self-employment. You may not necessarily have to go looking for jobs. And that is what we are emphasizing on. To train you, you become an entrepreneur, you employ yourself, and you also employ others. Now, as far as them working at the international market is concerned, as I said earlier, one way we are marketing them is through our TVET gateway, which we have developed and it's like I said, it's an online one-stop shop for them to be able to be able to access our TVETs, but also to market their skills. And they can also be accessed both at the local market within Kenya, but also regionally within the East African Economic Bloc, but also within the African Free Continental Trade Area, but other those that will be interested in other countries. We also have partnered with Ministry of Labor, where they also have that international, a portal that can also allow them to access. Now this portal, other than them marketing themselves by providing the skills that they have, they also market themselves through feedback that we get based on their performance out there. And they could also be graded as either a 5-star in terms of the product and the skills they provide, up to 1-star rating. So depending on how they are rated, they also get to have more opportunities for themselves. And I just wish to report, as you all know, as far as the foreign exchange in this country, the diaspora remittance has more or less superseded that of the traditional ones that we always knew from tourism and agriculture, for example. And from our study in terms of this remittance, almost 80% is of Kenyans out there working in vocational or technical related labor markets in these various countries. So that's how we are able to ensure that our graduates are not only for the local market, but also for the international market.
Last question. Can you quantify the percentage of TVET graduates, the percentage in our country's remittance?
The total in terms of their
contribution,
the contribution in the industry, as they get into the industry, or
foreign
you
remittance.
can clarify.
I'm saying their
Yes.
share contribution to our remittance, foreign remittance.
In terms of figures, we may not be able to, but in terms of percentage, that we are able to ascertain that is almost 80% of that which is remitted into our country, as far as foreign exchange is concerned, from the diaspora, are from those Kenyans who are out there working in vocational and technical related labor markets or opportunities.
Thank you very much, Madam PS, for that. Mark, another question out there?
Yes, thank you so much. There's a question from Bet Meshak, and he's asking, is it possible to offer medicine-related courses in TVETs, and what is needed in terms of it to be effective?
Yes, we are offering medicine-related courses, but much of it has to do with the technology that is able to offer maintenance of those equipments, and the other is to do with like, for example, the therapeutic massaging, as well as the various the production of the medical, but at a very it's biomedical related, but in terms of production at very technical, in terms of the technologist level and at the technician level. But we are having discussions amongst ourselves, because the government has committed to ensuring that Kenyans are able to access affordable health care. And much of reason why it probably could still be at a level where it's still expensive for Kenyans is because some of these equipments, when they are brought here, they have to be installed and they also have to be maintained by experts from the originating countries. So we are now discussing with the suppliers of these equipments on possibility of partnering with them to be able to train our trainers, who now can train our trainees on the installation of this equipment and routine maintenance. And in the process, I believe, could also reduce the cost of health substantially, because then we'll have a much more affordable labor compared to those we are getting from the countries that supply these equipments.
Thank you, Madam PS, for that. Mark?
Thank you so much. Someone is asking, and this is Kiprotich @_Unja, who's asking, has the government secured jobs for TVET graduates outside the country, or does someone need to look for themselves? And he's citing the example of how nurses were gotten jobs in the United Kingdom recently.
For us, once we train, the next step is for them to go to industrial attachments or to get into internship. And we have industrial placement units in our TVET institutions that works with the industry to ensure that they're able to get these opportunities for them to be able to showcase in the industries that they can be able, they have the prerequisite competencies and skills for the various vocational or technical jobs. We do not have a formal engagement with international labor market where we can connect our TVET graduates directly to them, because we are working together with the Ministry of Labor. So we cannot directly provide that linkage as TVET, but it is provided through the Ministry of Labor. And we always are directing our graduates for that kind of linkage and possibility of them now getting to the international labor market. So currently we don't have any kind of agreement with any country for them to be able to take our graduates. But like I said, we yet to also satisfy our labor market within this country. I had a discussion with the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, who are saying they need 500,000 per year in vocational related and technical related skills as artisans, as craftsmen, as technologists and technicians. So as much as we also are able to get to the international labor market, we also are trying to provide for our local labor market as much as we can. So there's a lot of partnerships between us and the local industry. One of them we have really progressed is dual training, where the local industry is training for us 50%, and our technical institutions are training also 50%. So that 50% is also making it easier for the industry to also integrate their modern trends into our training, and in the process then we are at par as far as their labor market needs and requirements are concerned, and also to get to them becoming globally competitive.
Indeed, it's true, Madam Pierce, if I may just add something there, and agree with you that we do not have enough skilled manpower yet, because remember our vision is, Vision 2030 is to elevate our level of economic development from, a least developed country to a certain level of mid-economic level, and we need skilled manpower to be able to do that, so that we can be able to achieve those aspirations. If we're looking to export labor outside, then of course we not have sufficient skill set to be able to help us develop. So as it were now, I think all the skills that we're able to put together would be very, very beneficial in terms of ensuring that we're able to achieve our economic target as a nation.
Yeah, because we also need to industrialize as a country. We are yet to get there. As far as Vision 2030 is concerned, we are supposed to be a manufacturing economy by 2030. So that's why we are really working closely with the industry to be able to get to understand what are your training needs, what are your projection as far as industrializing this country or getting this country to manufacturing economy is concerned, and what kind of skill sets and what kind of competencies do you require, and how can we partner so that as we train, you also train, and we are able to now get to be competitive to allow you to offer the products and the services that can also be part of the international market. So as I said, it will be important, and that we are doing to ensure we also provide for the international market, and it's happening, and that's why we talked about the diaspora remittance being more higher and growing steadily and superseding the traditional foreign exchange earners in this country. But our focus is to provide these competencies, these skills that can ensure our country is industrialized, that can ensure our country gets to a manufacturing economy. And when we do that, we also will reduce the unemployment in this country. But in addition, we also can enhance the livelihoods. And it's a turnaround. And then the GDP can grow. The
TVET graduates will want to venture into entrepreneurship. Now, how is the government willing to cushion these budding entrepreneurs who come from TVET? That is Lynette Tanu.
We are now have finalized our TVET blueprint, which we now want to roll, which is a national strategy for the next 5 years on how TVET can bridge the skill gaps, but also how TVET can contribute to socioeconomic development and reduce the unemployment gap in this country. So as far as ensuring that there's relevance, there's lots of discussion that is going on with the industry as well as our development partners. But also, What was the question?
No, it was how
Oh, yes.
the government
Yeah.
can help.
Now, as far as therefore getting them to get into entrepreneurship, we are at very advanced discussion stage. One, to change our way of delivery of the curriculum and training, and also financing. So that it's not just financing for tuition, but also financing for innovation, research, and incubation hubs, but also providing startup kits and startup financing for them to be able to graduate complete with the knowledge and skills and the competencies, but also with the tools to go and set up an enterprise, but also linked to financing mechanism where they can also fund in terms of the product development and marketing. Again, you also realize our focus has basically been on acquisition of the technical and vocational skills. But we also in our curriculum now have integrated the matter of entrepreneurship. How is it that these skills that we are imparting on them, how can they translate and now get to come up with their own cottage industries, or even to set up their own factories, or now get a desk and start production. We also are equipping them on matters of financial management, marketing, as well as ICT. Now to get this all-rounder TVET graduate who not only has the skills, but also can manage their finances, can market their product, and can also get to an entrepreneurial which is sustainable, with complete linkage to a financing mechanism.
In addition to what the PS has said also is that the government has also rolled out various programs to assist young people who are coming out of these training institutions to start up their own enterprises. For instance, there are programs like the Uwezo Fund, Youth Enterprise Development Fund, KYOP. All these programs are there to help a young person who has an idea, want to engage in an enterprise, but doesn't have the seed capital. So the government has rolled out these programs to assist somebody who wants to start his own a small enterprise through various funds. And the funds are given in an increasing manner, from maybe 100,000 all the way up to $1 million. Indeed, you also remember about Mbele na Biz, where the government did give out 3.6 million shillings to various youths that had award-winning proposals. So you can be given an amount that's equivalent to that much money if you have a program or have a proposal that is doable, is implementable,